Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the newly revised No Boxing, No Life Mexican made training gloves. So check it out. Hey guys, Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the newly revised Mexican made No Boxing, No Life training gloves. I got mine in 16 ounces lace up in this white, red, and green colorway. You can also get this in 14 ounces in Velcro closure, as well as multiple different colorways like white, black, red, if you're interested in checking it out. As usual, I'll put the link in the description box so you guys can go there and see what they have that's currently available. Now, I've done a review on the No Boxing, actually I did a review on two types of No Boxing, No Life training gloves in the past. My first review was on the very first gloves that came out that were their training gloves. I believe they were 14 ounces. Those were made in Pakistan and were not very good at all. And then I did a review on their Mexican made training gloves which were a step above the other Pakistan made ones, but were still pretty average at best. So I was really interested to see how these would perform and how the quality on these were when they were released pretty recently. And my first impressions, I did an unboxing video of these gloves. I was pretty impressed in the fact that they did make a pretty big jump in terms of quality, although there's a couple of small issues I still think they can improve on. So, hopefully this review will kind of put a little bit more of detail and kind of answer some of your guys' questions you guys may have on these newly revised gloves. I like to call them the 2.0s just because they're the second revision of the No Boxing, No Life training gloves. So first things first, so when you're looking at the glove, the profile of the glove really reminds me like the Angelus gloves. As a matter of fact, when I did the unboxing video, a lot of people were commenting saying that these are most likely made by the same manufacturer that make the Angelus gloves. And I would probably have to agree with them. It looks very similar in terms of the width of the glove, the height, the length is very similar. If you guys have a pair of like Gill or Zeppo gloves, that's something I would kind of compare it to in terms of sizing and profile, so you have an idea of how they are. So you can see that there has a kind of that traditional Mexican conical shape that has that tapered end at the very top where the hand compartment is. It does say No Boxing, No Life on the back of glove. These are all made in Mexico using 100% genuine leather, nothing synthetic. So No Boxing, No Life in the green, white, black, red, and gold. The leather on here, I would say, has more of a satin finish to it. It's not a very glossy looking glove. And you can see the green as well has more of a satin shine to it. White's a little bit more harder to see unless it's under light. It's not very reflective like darker colors. So you have the green there, the stitching between the thumb and the back of the glove. And then going down to the wrist section, you have the No Boxing, No Life patch in black with the kind of that metallic gold as well as red and green. And then the red leather on the back of the wrist. I'd say the wrist has about an inch of padding, of soft density foam padding. And then on the inside, maybe a ½ inch on the inside of the wrist that goes up to right about here, as well as on this side of the glove. It does have the No Boxing, No Life tag. It says 16 ounces, and it also says that it's made in Mexico on the tag itself. The liner is a pretty standard satin polyester nylon liner on the inside. You can see that it has a double stitching. Nice long flat black laces with plastic tips at the end. White piping on the palm, white piping on the thumb. You have the split between the red and the green on the thumb and a white leather attached thumb right there. A really nice hard grip bar that's pretty large, so you can definitely feel it. It doesn't push down or it doesn't have very much flex to it when you push into the bar, so it's nice and solid. I would venture to say that maybe it's like a piece of like rubberized hose that they use. I've seen some companies do that where they get like a rubber hose and they cut it and then they put it in there to make the grip bar rather than a piece of foam. So there you have it. And also, I believe they use a latex foam style padding over the hand compartment area. Just give you guys a little bit of overview of it. There you have it. Quality-wise, the gloves are pretty good. I'd say the biggest areas of concern is going to be the glove is a tad overweight. I believe the right glove weighed in at 16.9 ounces, and the left glove was at 16.3. So a little bit overweight, not by like 1 or 2 whole ounces, but still a little overweight. And I'd say the other areas of concern would be some of the stitching, especially on the outside edges and corners. You can see it's starting to kind of pull away at the leather. And the wrist support, just like the Angelus gloves, the wrist support on this glove is extremely soft. And you can see because of that, it makes the glove a little bit on the top heavy side. And thankfully they put enough of the padding on the middle there, but you can see it does have some flex to it because of how soft the padding is around the wrist. So it would have been nice if they had something a little bit more harder or rigid in the wrist section to give it a little bit more of a rigid feel and a little bit more supportive feel. Another thing you'll notice is some of the stitching is a little bit kind of off on the palm side, and on the right glove too. It has kind of the same issue where you can see some of the stitching. It's a little off, and then the same thing here. You can see kind of the stitch pattern. You can see how the needle went into the leather, and then it kind of got into this section, and it almost like it dragged on the leather. And you can't really see how the actual needle went in and out, and it did, but it just kind of looks weird. So I think the stitching definitely could be improved on. You can see that area right there could be better. The grip bar looks pretty good, where the finger and the green leather, the white and the green meat looks good, tucked in nicely. Where the thumb meets the index finger looks pretty solid right there. And coming down the wrist, doesn't look bad. No issues with the liner being torn open. But yeah, I'd say the issues would probably be the stitching. You see kind of pulling through on that side as well. Would be the weight and the stitching with this glove, and then the softness of the wrist support that could be improved. Comfort-wise, sliding your hand into the glove. So the wrist actually feels really comfortable, although it is very soft. When I use these gloves, I typically will get some tape and tape my wrist off before I put my wraps on. The biggest issue with this glove I had is the thumb positioning is good. So in terms of like the way my thumb is positioned, it's not bad. The issue is that the very tip made my thumb go numb, and they put a ton of padding at the thumb, or for the entire back of your thumb, that's very stiff. And it basically pinches down on your thumb. So by the time you're done with your training session, you'll notice that your thumb ends up going numb. So it's gonna take more breaking in, but it would have been nice if they used a little bit less foam and something a little bit more softer on the inside, so you don't get that numbing feeling on your thumb, because the position is pretty good. So that's not a concern. It's just how it numbs your thumb out. And then the hand compartment itself is a little bit on the more roomier and wider side. Again, like I compared to like the other Mexican-made gloves, like the Casanova, the Guild, the Zeppel. It's definitely on the roomier side. If I relax my fingers and my hand on the inside of the glove, my fingers aren't even in all the way in here. I have to like literally just kind of like push my hand in a lot more. There's also kind of a void between the outside of my pinky and this portion of the glove. Obviously you can't see it right now, but there's definitely a void there, even with hand wraps on. So there's a little bit of horizontal room on the inside of the glove. It's a little bit roomier. It would be nice if, again, I will say this in a lot of the videos, especially with these type of gloves, if they kind of filled it in with a more softer kind of foam or fabric. That way it kind of just rested against your hand a little bit more comfortably. You have the grip bar there, you can feel it, and they also have a secondary grip bar on the inside that's rolled up, and it's pretty thick, and you can actually feel it on the tips of your fingers when you pull it down. That isn't too bad, but again, it does kind of numb your finger out, and it takes a little bit more of a break-in period. I do like that it's there. Wish it was a little bit smaller, so it didn't numb your fingers out. So I'd say the numbing of the tip of your thumb, and then you have that little grip bar, that secondary grip bar, would have been nice to make that a little bit smaller. Maybe line the entire interior compartment, hand compartment, with a little bit of a softer foam. That way you kind of fill the void inside the glove and you don't have that roominess. Good for people with maybe bigger hands, so you can probably fill the glove in a little bit better. But for those of you that have medium to smaller hands, then this would definitely be kind of a larger fitting glove. I'd maybe venture to say go with like the 14 ounces to be on the safe side with this glove. Protection and performance, this is a latex glove. I'd say that the density on it is on the medium side, medium to soft. It's not completely soft where you can push your finger all the way through. It does have a little bit more density to it. Really good on the mitts. You could use these for sparring. Good for heavy bag work. Really good feedback and pop, especially for a training glove. It does a really nice job when you do land with your punches, that the latex foam does compress in nicely so you can feel your knuckles landing. It does a decent job with shock absorption as well because of how the latex is a little bit more on the dense side. It's not one of the softer style latex foams that is super soft and doesn't use any kind of horsehair, so you don't have to worry about it being a little bit too unprotected, if you guys know what I mean by that. I know that I did a review on the Reyes Fight gloves that were all pretty much horsehair foam in those, and you can really feel your punches sink through the glove. So you definitely don't get that sensation with these. You get a good amount of pop, amount of feedback. Only thing I wish is that the wrist support could have been a little bit better. If you do have a wrist injury or some kind of issue with your wrist where it's sore or stiff, maybe I'd recommend, if you are going to get these gloves, to really wrap up your hands well, tape off your wrists. That way it kind of acts like a buffer for your hands to prevent yourself from making your injury even worse or risking it. So my best recommendation for that. So cost-wise, these gloves are $220 through the No Boxing No Life USA website. You know, based on what other gloves are on the market, I think these are basically the same if not similar to the Angelus. I definitely think the gloves are a bit overpriced for what they are. And the reason I say that is because, you know, I've tried and I've reviewed the Zeppo gloves, Lopez, Gill, Casanova, which are all very similar. Obviously New Sportings, and I just think this glove definitely has some room for improvement. And to me, there's other gloves out there that I think outperform this one currently. And again, even the Angelus gloves are more affordable than these. You know, outside of the name No Boxing No Life, I know a lot of people go by marketing and name recognition. You know, that's cool and all, but I definitely think the price on these should be either lower, or you can do better with a different glove for a better price than these gloves currently. Now, if they fix certain things in the glove, the liner, the numbing of the thumb, the weighted glove, the balance of the padding in the glove, the structure, you know, then I definitely think they would have a case for it. But currently as it sits, I think that there's better alternatives out there. I do like these gloves. I'm not in love with them as of yet. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these No Boxing No Life revised training gloves. I'll see you guys later. Take care.